Total Attack Nation, we are back, baby, for part 2 of our interview here with the one and only Tobais PALMER, baby. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, make sure to pause it right here. Go back and check out part 1 here, because we're going to get into some stuff here that was cliffhanged perfectly in part 1, which I know if you're tuning in right now, you're like, please tell me more. Please tell me more. And so, especially too this year, Tobais, because I mean, first of all, I got to ask, I mean, do you watch a lot of NC State games?
I do. I still
cool.
support them, from right there in my living room.
I love it. So, because I definitely got to get your thoughts, because this has definitely been an interesting year from a wide receiver perspective. Right. Obviously, I mean, Devin Carter has been, he's showed up in big ways in some places, but then sometimes he just disappeared. Like ECU game was just non-existent. Thayer Thomas has been a baller. I mean, I've said, I think a lot of people would say he's one of the all-time greatest NC State. Just, I mean, that dude was consistent. He catches everything. He was always reliable. He could do it all. But everything else too. I mean, just like, Keon Lassane, Julian Gray, just we're kind of off. So, I mean, what were your thoughts, from a wide receiver perspective? Please help us in that area.
Wide receivers perspective, let's start with Thayer. Like you said, very consistent. What you see is what you're going to get out of him, and that's great because he's very consistent, and that's the name of the game. It's about being very consistent in what you do. When it goes to Devin Carter, Devin, like you said, he showed up in big time. He had some big time catches, but he also shot away from it too. So, playing receiver, man, you got to show up day in and day out. Whether they game plan for you or not. You got to do your part, and I feel like with those two guys coming back, they were the leaders that people were going to look up to. The other young receivers they had to take under their wing. Believe it or not, I never paid too much of attention to the rest of the receivers. I just kind of looked at the offense as a whole because I'm an offensive-minded person. I always wanted to, see, what the offensive coordinator was seeing and why was he running the routes he was running. So, man, I would see things sitting in my living room sometimes looking at the games. It's like, why did he call that play? What is he seeing? And different things they should have done, but man, just for those guys to still go out there and ball and play, man. I mean, my hat's off to them.
Absolutely. So let's get into it a little bit too, because again, you mentioned in the first part you tried to come back to coach, and so kind of tell me a little bit more about that. So I mean, I know, I've talked to a couple other former players that have reached out to Coach Dorn to ask about being graduate assistant and things like that. Is that kind of the thing that you're talking about in terms of coming back to coach?
Man, anywhere from a grad assistant, even a quality control person, just to move my way up, man. For me, just the experience that I have from the game, it's not a lot of people that can say that they've been in my shoes. I believe, to my knowledge, there's only one coach on our coaching staff that has actually played in the NFL. I think that's Coach Joker. He's the assistant head wide receivers coach, I believe. But nothing against any other coach that's on staff. It's just that it would be a good look, former alumni, someone that's played at the highest level that you can play at, that has experience to come back and give back and instill inside of the young guys, the values of what it's going to take to play at the next level, and so many people, man, think that it's so easy to play in the league. And it's not. It's not, man. And a lot of guys take it for granted.
Well, if it was, everybody would do it, right?
Oh, yeah.
That part. So, man, a lot of guys take the game for granted, man. And I tell them, man, you got to respect the game, because if not, it'll eat you up and chew you out. It'll spit you out. I'm sorry. Chew you up, spit you out. But
got it.
but that's what will happen, man. I mean, you really gotta respect the game. Take the teaching, take the criticism, and take it and apply it to the field. I mean, a lot of guys just think, oh man, I'm God-given talent, man. I hate practice. I ain't got to practice hard. I'm gonna just show up in the game. That ain't how it works. It's really not. And I always wanted to give back, man. I wanted to coach. I always wanted to make sure that once I'm done with the game, I can go and instill what I took from the game inside of somebody else and make them great.
Just kind of pay it forward, right?
There you go.
Just kind of pay it forward. There you go. Because someone got you to where you wanted to be in life, right?
Right. So, right. But like I said, the difference between the way that I got it then the guys are getting it now is because they're they're getting paid, they're giving these NIL deals. Like for me, I feel like we had to get it a little bit from the bottom. We had to get it from the mud, and we had to really grind and get it.
Yeah.
And whenever you do it that way, you appreciate it more. And with some guys, they go in there and they bust it out 2 years and they think, oh man, I'm gonna be top round draft pick. I ain't got to do so hard. I ain't got to go so hard this year here. I mean, I just got to get through and be injury free. And then, it hits them because in the league, everybody's good. Everybody's fast. So you got to be able to compete.
Amen.
I think you're saying it without saying it a certain way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have the Bradberries, the JJ Watts, guys that are coming in 1, 2, 3-star guys who make it to the league, and you got 4 and 5-star kids that just they fade out. They don't get developed. They don't, they're like, well, I'm a 4 or 5-star. I don't have to work as hard as this 2, 3-star kid.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you see, I mean, there's a ton of those stories in the NFL today. You like Tom Brady, that's an easy low hanging fruit, but he was a 2, 3-star kid, coming out of high school, just worked his tail off.
That's just like Antonio Brown. I know he had his past, and he's still human. He's still one of us, but at the same time, he was a 1-star coming out, and he got drafted in the sixth round, I want to say.
Yeah.
So
something. But at that point, it don't matter, right? You work your tail off, and you can become a Hall of Famer.
Exactly.
You got guys that I don't think you have any undrafted guys that are in the Hall of Fame, but I mean, you got guys that are all pros that weren't drafted.
Right.
So
I will warn you, Tobias, that Greg is a Tampa Bay fan, so it's all good. It is what it is, right?
I'm actually a Tampa Bay fan, not a Tom Brady fan. Though I do like Tom Brady.
You can't bet against Tom, though, man. You can't count him out, man.
Never, of course not.
Never bet against Tom Brady.
But speaking of former NFL quarterbacks, we had Mike Glennon on probably about 2 months ago, and he brought up an interesting point that I would have argued the different. Obviously, in having look at me not playing in the NFL, but he said the hardest adjustment for him was not from college to pros, but high school to college. Would you agree with that statement, or would you respectfully argue with your quarterback?
I feel like I will agree with him. You definitely have to adjust. You got to adjust because now your playbook isn't just as very simplified as it is in high school.
Right.
The lingo is a little different in high school playbook compared to college, and college to NFL. So it's really just trying to adjust the way that the field is played, like the front 5, front 4, whatever they're playing defensively. The defensive lineman makes the game a lot different from college to NFL. So for sure.
Yep. Yeah.
Mike G. I'm going to keep calling him Mike G. I like that.
Oh, yeah, that's all we called him.
Mike, he said for him, it was just getting into the weight room, right? Like something that really, it was new. Obviously going to class, just everything all the amount of effort that it takes just to become, and then of course quarterback is a whole nother different beast other than other positions. Cause you got to know everything, right? You got to know everything, you get all the FaceTime, you're the ones that has the microphones put in your face, and it's a different adjustment. So, for you, what was the biggest adjustment though, going from high school to college? Like, what was like that aha moment that, okay, I'm here now?
Really, I hated the weight room. Let me put that out there now. I hated the weight room all because I felt like it was going to take away from my speed. But going back to the whole weight room thing, weight room, you got to get in there. You got to pump some iron. You got to get it beef up a little bit more. Nutrition definitely plays a factor. How you treat your body. You only got one body. So you might as well feed it the right way, treat it the right way.
Mine's like a temple. So, a lot of barbecue.
Hey, but you got to treat your body right. And like I said, really just adjusting your mind to how fast the game is, learning playbook. And that was key in the NFL. But just really learn the playbook, know where you fit in. And once you know your role, be great at it. At everything you do, just be great at it.
Yeah. When I think Eric Thomas
sure.
said it best when he did his speech at NC State. I think it was in 2014, before that season, where basically said, I mean, you think you've made it to the big leagues, like you have all your meals provided, you have the weight room, you have the training room, you have the film room, you have a field, you have an indoor practice facility, you have like all this stuff. Which unless you went to IMG Academy, you did not have 99% of this. So it's kind of like a holy crap, like I have all this now, like this is easy now. It's like, no, I mean, they're tools.
What are you going to do with
tools?
them?
They're not prizes, they're tools. So that's I think that's really one of the biggest wake up calls, for sure. So that's why I'd 100% agree with you on that. But so Tobais, this is definitely one game which I have been dying to ask you about ever since we got this booked.
Well,
but
actually, this is what got us. This is what got him here today. Remember we posted that a few days ago. That video,
the Clemson game, right? That's what we're talking about.
You were talking about the Maryland
game.
I
was talking Maryland, but
Maryland
you're right.
game
Clemson
too. But yeah, I got
an amazing game
Clemson
too.
happened before Maryland for sure. But yeah, no Clemson game
for sure.
I got to ask, man. So tell me, from 0 to 99, how confident were you that State was going to beat Clemson, number 7 Clemson? AK, I'm not allowing you to tell me you were 100% confident.
No, I'm not. I wasn't. But the focus, I never forget preparing for that week. I was about 90% for sure we were going to beat them. For one, we're a hell of a hard team to beat at home. It's hard to beat NC State at home. I believe the year after my senior year, we ended up beating Florida State. They were number 3. So, it was no doubt in my mind that we couldn't beat Clemson, but we know we had to match their intensity, but they were at our house. So they had to come to our house and beat us. But it was just really all about preparation, man. I felt like we prepared hella strict that we was on top of everything that week. We made sure that, we went through our play calls, even in walkthrough. Mike was making the right reads. He was making the right checks. We were walking our, routes. We knew what we were going to do, how we were going to do it. And once we was done walkthrough that day, we had our little meeting. We go to our hotel and, we kind of just dream and think about what I did. I would always close my eyes and visualize how I'm going to play, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it. And I just try to make it, and I just turn it into action, man, and just let it show on the field, man.
I got you. Well, because the one play which stands out for you is I think it was either a screenplay or just like a quick comeback route, but basically it was a screen. Yeah. And you must have broke probably 3 or 4 tackles getting to the end zone. And to me, it was that play, which I'll be honest with you, Tobias. I'll be honest. I think it was more lack of the defense side in terms of tackling, more than necessarily it was like, dude, Tobias made a heck of a play. I mean, just because, dude, the guys were just it was that play where I said, Clemson's off today. They're off. Like, dude, I mean, and then the funniest thing was afterwards, ESPN had the camera right in your face, and I can't remember who it was, but somebody got right in your face and said, that's what I'm talking about, man. I'm like, oh, God, ESPN picked that up.
That was Jay Smith. That was my teammate.
Yeah. Hey, Jay Smith's my man. He's from 757, like I'm from. He's down from my area. So
I mean, hey, if you disagree with me, tell me like it is, Tobias. I mean, I'm not hammering you down for sure. I'm just telling you what I saw, man. I'm just telling you what I saw.
Personally, now
they didn't want none of that smoke. They didn't want none.
Nah, they didn't. But at the same time, I felt like we were like beating Clemson down, and they were tired. I mean, you can tell.
True.
Now, going back to that play, of course, I'm gonna give credit to myself. I made a hell of a run. Sure. I made a play.
Hey,
but
what?
But Clemson being Clemson, knowing how Clemson is, knowing their the way that they play ball down in Anderson is, it was too many missed tackles. I felt like it was more of a lack of effort.
It's mental,
and it's mental, like you said, it's mental, and it was just they didn't make the play. So and honestly, man, going through that play, man, when Mike G called a play in the huddle, and I looked at Jay, and Jay was like, "I got you." All right, cool. And we made it happen, and we did, and we knew that their defense was tired, and hats off to Coach Bible. I give it to him for this. It was a hell of a play call. It was gutsy, but it was a hell of a play call to call a screen pass into the boundary. But the slot receiver, I'm sorry, the nickelback he was playing golf.
Yeah.
Playing golf, and he seen it, like, go for it, and we made it happen. And man, at that point, when I'm running down the sideline, I'm thinking, all right, do I need to run out of bounds or do I need to make a play?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, F it, I'm gonna make a play.
Yeah,
I made a play, man, and
yeah,
it worked, and I had fun, and I enjoyed that night, man.
I love it, man. I love it. What
was that score? Was it 41-10?
I think it ended up being 36-12, 37-12.
Yeah.
36-12.
Yeah.
37-12.
Yeah. I know it was a beatdown.
Yeah. Still my favorite quote. If you saw this coming, send us a letter. That's still one of my favorite quotes to this day. So, but also too, you talk about Clemson, and obviously, we'll come back to the Maryland game, but since we're talking about Clemson, you freaking go off and you freaking say, Clemson, sit down. I got your number. And you go off for, what is it? 496 yards total, 219 receiving and 3 touchdowns and 277 yards kickoff return, man. I mean, what were you drinking that day? Because I need to drink it. I got like whatever,
honestly,
whatever you had, man.
Honestly, me being the only senior receiver, I knew I needed to do something. And I was already kind of frustrated because I felt like me being the only senior receiver coming back, I felt like I needed to eat. I needed to eat more. And I felt like Coach Bible was being very conservative, going back to conservative with the offense, and when you hear a coach tell you there'll never be a 1,000-yard receiver in his offense, it kind of puts you in a different place.
But why?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't even like, you get your best playmakers the
exactly.
ball. Like, I mean, so
the way that West Virginia were using Tavon Austin, they should have been. I felt like they should have been using me in that same type of way. But having the old school coaches we had, not saying all of them were old school, but majority of them were, and the playbook that we had, I mean, it just wasn't. They didn't throw that wrinkle in there. So it was just more of a smash mouth ball, the offense we played. But going back to that Clemson game, man, I just knew I had to make a play. I knew I had to be a difference maker some way, somehow.
Made a couple.
Yeah. And like, I knew we beat them the year before, and I can only imagine, like, all right, they're saying this ain't about to happen again. Now they're at our house. So, they had hella weapons on their offense. I knew it was going to be an offensive battle, man. And we just had to make it happen.
But it wasn't.
Yeah, we ran out of gas at the end, huh? But I just had to be a difference maker, man. And you just showed them, like, look, I'm here to play. Either y'all gonna be with me or you're not. But I'm here to play. And I can say this, give props to my brother Mario Carter. He was tight end. Me and him was the only receivers that was over 100 yards that night, man. And we were both balling out, man. I mean, he was a senior, I was a senior. And, man, we just wanted to make, the most of our opportunities. And I felt like that night we both did.
No kidding.
So that number, is that a record for state for most yards in a game?
To my knowledge, it is an ACC, definitely ACC record.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. I'd say the only person that really comes to mind would be like a, darn it, I just forgot his name.
It'll come back to you.
I'm having a rough night tonight. No. Naeem Hines. I know he's like one of those all-purpose guys. He had a lot of games where he would get some returns and get some touchdowns from scrimmage too. Yeah, so
absolutely.
Yeah.
So before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flightland's Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout Eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flightland's Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flightland's Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flightlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
Yeah.
So now let's jump back to that game. Yes, that brought us all here for sure. The Maryland 2011 game. So I do got to ask you this for sure, because I mean, it was pretty well known that if that game had gone south, O'Brien would not have had the 2012. I mean, it wasn't happening.
Oh no, for sure.
So, and literally, it was always a joke of mine being like that. Literally, that halftime speech must have just been like him, just like, please, like, you know, please, let's pull this out. Which, I mean, we know O'Brien enough to be like, he ain't begging nobody. Yeah, get out here. But I mean, like, because there was no explanation. I mean, first half was just terrible. And then I mean, even the start of the second half, like I still literally remember sitting beside my cousins, and the first touchdown happened in the second half. I said, if they score one more time, we're out of here. And of course, they didn't score one more time.
That's when Meggett broke up the sideline. Yes, number 8. Yeah, it was that running back.
Yep. Got it. Yep. So I mean, tell me, like, you know, what did happen? Like, what was that switch?
Oh man, I don't. That game we came out flat. The game plan was there.
Both teams kind of did though. Like neither team was like it was ugly. Yeah. Like they were scoring, but it was ugly. Like we had turnovers, they had turnovers. Yeah. We just gave them more turnovers.
And I just felt like, man, we didn't come out and be dominant like we talked about during the week. And you know, once we went into halftime, man, you know, we get booed by our own fans, man. I mean, that's a feeling that you never want to feel. So we go in at halftime, we make adjustments. And I just remember, you know, Coach O'Brien gathering all of us up, and he's like, they better not fucking score no more. I don't know if I can I don't know if I can say the F-bomb, but I'm sorry.
You just did it. You'll be all right.
Hey, they'll get over it.
But they say they better not score anymore. Defense, you got to anchor down. You got to do what you got to do. And know your reads, make plays. Offense, score, keep scoring. And we went out, and we got a drive going. And I never forget the play, the call in the huddle was called fish. Fish is always to the F receiver. It's an option route. So basically I'm one-on-one with the middle linebacker. And the look they were giving us was the right call at the time. Mike G looked at me. He just gave me that nod. Okay, cool. I know what to do now from here on. I made a play, a score, and
you don't even celebrate. You just catch
I didn't celebrate. I didn't celebrate.
No.
I didn't celebrate because I was mad. I was frustrated because I'm like, we need this game to go to a bowl, and we're playing at the level of our competition. So we need.
That was not a good team.
No, they weren't.
Like that Maryland team was so bad.
They were terrible. They were terrible, man. And at that point, I didn't want to celebrate. I think you might see it on the video. You'll see me and Mario. We'll do a little chest bump, but that's it.
Yeah, it was
all business at that, and at that point, we go into the fourth quarter. I'm like, all right, man, we got to make a comeback. And then, you know, we got TC involved, which is Tony Creasy. We got him involved. He definitely stepped up huge, made some big plays for us. And
George Bryan was the man that game, like on his senior day. Now, I mean, I know this is the Tobais PALMER hour, but
that 4th and 10 catch,
George Bryan,
that's big. That's big.
Ooh,
that's big.
Dude.
I mean, every time you needed a big catch in that game, like what was Maryland thinking? Like we went to him like 7 times,
and every time big time,
caught every single one, man. Every single time.
Man, that game, man. I mean, just seeing our fans leave, man, we just knew that we had to anchor down. We had to do what we needed to do to come back and play, man. And then when we made that comeback, man. And then at the end, when CJ got the interception and ran it back, man, and we just, you know,
he wasn't even taking a knee. He's like,
there wasn't a single person.
I'm not taking a knee. I'm taking it to the
house.
No
way.
It was there was nobody in front of him, so I knew he was going to take it all the way back. So
no. Well, especially the comeback that, you know, they did. It's like, no, we are going to put the spear in it right here, man.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Well, if it wasn't for the Maryland kicker getting hurt earlier in the game, and then they had to bring a backup kicker, that would have been tied for the all-time ACC comeback. Because as it was only 27 points, whereas the record was 28. Yep. So you essentially tied the record if it wasn't for a knuckle hit kicker.
Exactly.
Look at you, Greg.
But
historian, man, I love it.
Yeah,
good deal.
But that game, I mean, it's just it's funny because I think you're the reason, Leighton, that we posted it on the on Twitter the other day, because I was watching it getting ready for the bowl game, and I watched that game, and then the next year in 2012, that was my wife in my third date ever up at College Park. Okay. So, so
all right.
I have an affinity for Maryland games for whatever reason. I lived in Maryland for
and that was the last time we played them was in 2012. Yep.
Yeah,
Sure
yeah.
Yeah,
was.
y'all did,
In
but
the, in the
we played him
ACC.
in 2013 and we lost to him.
Oh, it did?
That was last
Oh,
year.
really?
2013 was
Okay.
last year.
Okay.
2013
I
was
Yeah,
last
thought,
year.
I thought it was
yeah.
2012.
But
Okay, it
but
was
Yeah.
13.
but 2013 didn't happen. So anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I
we
got
lost
you.
that game.
Yeah, we
But
did. We lost a lot of games that year. Go ahead.
So we went over a couple of those games, but I mean, are either one of those two your favorite game, or do you have a different game that's your all time like personal
Well,
favorite?
of course, Clemson's going to be number one.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the Belton
Yep.
Bowl when we played Louisville. That was a hard fought game, but man, it was a team effort. Making a one-handed touchdown catch, man. I still didn't. I still don't know how I made that catch. I'm looking into the lights, looking for the ball, and it just landed right in my hand. But I definitely enjoyed that bowl game, man. Just to be back in our home state, being able to play, and man, being able to celebrate Dave shattering the ACC record, man, with what 14 interceptions, man, and then he runs it all the way back and scores. Yep. So it was a lot, man, that happened in that game that I enjoyed for sure.
Yeah,
I think he under this year as an ACC legend.
Yes, he was. Yep,
he should be. Yeah,
at the ACC championship.
Yeah.
Yep.
At the ACC championship. Yeah,
I still remember that graphic, where they put up like his interceptions compared to like I think it was like 10 or 12 different teams in the top 25 that have less interceptions.
Yeah, I remember
him.
that too.
Like that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But the one thing which I do want to talk about with the Belk Bowl, because you mentioned it, in terms of O'Brien, very conservative play calling. That was a game which I feel like we kind of started to play not to lose a little bit. I mean, I feel like there's plenty of times, especially with Mike Glennon, which there was a game in 2012 where, you had Mike Glennon and you chose to be conservative, and it bit you in the butt in a very, very historic, ugly way. But I mean, was that?
I think I know what game you're talking about too.
Where somebody named Bio Gernard, something like that. I don't know, but anyway, we don't have to talk about that Tobias game. We don't have to talk about that game. Yeah.
You're breaking up. Can't hear you.
But I mean. So, I mean, did you kind of get that feeling, in terms of the play calling? Did you kind of get that conservative feel as well?
In a way, I did, but I mean, I liked that times where Coach Bible was definitely aggressive with his play calling. He took shots, and he was going to, if their defense is going to give it to us, why not take it? So, I was definitely pleased with the play calling in the Belk Bowl.
Cool deal. So to kind of wrap this thing up, Tobias, this is really a big topic right now. I know that you and I were actually talking about this, a couple of days ago. And you being a former, player yourself, playing NFL, playing college for sure. I do really want to talk about it. Obviously the Damar Hamlin, situation for sure. And, I think honestly, it was just kind of a huge just kick in all sports media. I mean, even for me and Tuffy Talk, I mean, it hit me and all of us, really hard. Kind of made us take kind of a step back, because I mean, this guy's 24 years old and was fighting for his life playing a game. That is, a lot of people's livelihood, but but then they're playing a game which is for entertainment, of millions and millions of people. So I mean, like, what was your initial reaction when you saw it? And then, if you had to give a message to those to NC State fans, to, supporters of football, like, what would you say to that?
Man, first and foremost, prayers work. Praying is definitely works, man. And, not only myself, but man, people around the world has been praying, man. And, trying to get their family through a tough time, man. Being someone that played the game, man, it hit me differently. It hit a lot of us differently. But just it felt like I knew him, like I've personally been there beside him, grinding and on the field and through the trenches, man, and playing. But just to see another brother of the game, because football is a big fraternity.
Amen.
To fight for his life like that on the field, man, is devastating. Never have I ever heard of seen or someone having to get CPR for one, and
On the
on the
field.
field,
It's
on the
crazy.
field, and have to be revived twice. Um,
Mhm.
man, it's like football is a dangerous game. Don't get me wrong. Football is
Yeah.
definitely a dangerous game that we play, the things that we do, and what I think people that have never played the game before don't realize what we put our bodies through day in and day out.
Hmm.
Until you've been in those shoes, you will never know. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
man, definitely, it was definitely a blessing to see that he's finally up. He's
Hmm.
responsive to his family and friends, people that are around. That's big. That's very big, man, and
Yeah.
that's a huge blessing. That's the reason why I say, man, praying works. It's that if
Amen.
that's not a true testimony or showing just a sign of faith, man. I mean, I don't know what else it is. Um, and
Amen.
then another thing too, man. I know it kind of hurts, and I know it's kind of hard for T. Higgins. Someone that felt and feels like it's his fault for that play, and it's not, man. And
No.
it's
It was just
routine.
routine. I
Routine.
mean, it just
It's a
bang
bang
bang.
bang play, man, and it just so happens to, you know, I had to teach myself this is that if you're hitting that area of your chest, um, even whenever like because your heart has a rhythm and it has a time that it's supposed to beat every single time. And if you're hitting hard in your chest at that time that it beats, you can easily knock it off rhythm, and that's what happened.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
it sent him to cardiac arrest. And so, man,
Yep.
T. Higgins people giving him death threats and everything, and I'm like, man, it's ridiculous, man, and it
Ridiculous.
sucks because people like that, man. I mean, that's the last thing that guy needs, man.
No.
So it
Yeah.
was different reports about T. Higgins. Actually, he was there from Monday until today by DeMar's
Hmm.
Hamlin bedside. So, and that's big. That's big, man. And
It's amazing.
yeah, it
Speaks to his
speaks character,
character,
man.
right?
And like people got to understand, and it's bigger than football. It's bigger than football.
Way
It's way
bigger.
bigger than football, man. We talking
Yeah.
about somebody's life, and the whole tweet with the whole Skip Bayless thing. I mean, man, that kind of really pissed me off. But I kind of like,
Hmm.
so I kind
Hmm.
of,
Yeah.
it
It didn't
didn't,
need to be
it
said.
didn't
It
need to be
didn't.
said.
There was no added value
E-
Yeah.
there
Exactly.
to
Well,
what he said.
and because too, I mean, like, yeah, he was saying there at the end, like, like he basically kind of backtracked there at the end, saying
Right.
like, like there's somebody down right now, but it's like, just don't even mention the game right
Don't
now.
even
Like,
mention
just
it, bro.
just don't even
Yeah.
mention it. Just
Yeah.
stop.
Secondary.
So
So,
yeah,
so for me, if I could just
Yeah.
interject a couple
For
thoughts
sure.
on that
yeah,
whole thing. One, it for me, it brought the
Hmm.
human element, right? We look at these guys, we put, athletes in general on
Correct.
pedestals,
amen.
right? And I think you almost put like football and hockey players on an upper
Hmm.
more pedestal because of the gladiatorness of the
Yeah,
sport. And so for me, it was just like, whoa. And then I was someone had brought it up, and I had totally forgot that I was at that game when at basketball, NC State, when South
Hmm.
Carolina State played us, and the kid
Right.
collapsed on the bench, and you could see him just. And I remember sitting in the stands, and I was just motionless. Like, I'm white, I was like
Right.
pale white because it was almost like, did this guy just die on the
yeah,
sidelines doing what he loves? Because that's it. Like, you have a passion for your sport, and then just see you lay it. These kids, and I say
Right.
kids for college, and then adults in pro sports, they literally lay it on the line for our
Correct.
enjoyment,
hmm,
entertainment. Like, it's insane.
hmm,
So hats off to anyone that was ever in that position, or like, I mean, seeing those
Hmm.
fans like gathering outside the hospital, like you said
Hmm.
earlier, praying for that, praying for Hamlin.
Yeah.
um,
yeah,
I'm really glad to hear that he's doing better. He's still
Right.
got a long road to recovery, but he's making progress every day,
Correct.
and we definitely
For
are
sure. For
praying for
sure.
him.
amen to that.
Amen to that too.
Amen.
Yeah. And
Yeah. So go ahead,
no, I was
Tobais,
about to
please.
say, and another thing too to add, man. I mean, you know, yeah, there's a life after football. Now, this could be determined by his career. He may not ever play football again. You having two heart attacks within, 10 minutes apart. I mean, it sucks, so this could be his career. And, it is a
Mhm.
testimony, for him to definitely be awake, be responsive, be able to live through this. But like you said, he definitely has a long road to recovery. And man, I'm still praying that he makes a full recovery for sure.
Amen.
And I want to add one more thought that I found out today. Like, I heard this guy's salary, and I don't know if you guys know what he was making.
Yeah.
He was making less than $1 million.
$817,000.
Yeah. Like, that's
and it's not guaranteed.
Nope.
Like, no.
If he doesn't play a single more game, he doesn't get another paycheck.
Well, it might change.
And here's the
that
thing.
might change.
Okay, good.
Yeah, he'll get some medical stuff. He'll get some
stuff.
medical stuff, from the.
But
from
it's
the
only
league.
like $4,000 a month or something like that, isn't it? At least that's what the guy on the rant said.
Well, with this right here, this is a total different situation. So they might.
I hope so.
Yeah, and me too. I'm praying so too, because this right here, if he can't play another down in his life, this is something that needs to be compensated for at least the rest of his life, or majority of it, something.
Yeah, I mean,
amen.
Yeah, and I don't know what the answer is, and obviously we're not going to solve it here tonight. No. But there's definitely some things need to be looked at, right? And I'm hoping maybe fans now take another look at when they see, Aaron Rodgers gets paid what he gets paid. That's like 1% of the league, right? Most of the guys would fit, a lot less. Yeah. There's only the pay disparity. It's significant, and it's like that in a lot of career paths. But they're not laying their lives on the line like I'm going to working on computers. Like I'm pretty good. Like these guys, it's a little bit different. Yeah. So I really hope that there's some changes made.
Yeah, me too, for sure.
Moving forward from this,
definitely.
Amen. Well, Tobais, again, first of all, man, I really do want to say thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts, man. Again, this has definitely been a goal of mine for sure, man. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show, man. And definitely will continue to be a big fan of yours, and definitely hope to, just like you said, you got to be at NC State, more soon. Definitely would love to have you a part of the staff if, we're able to make that happen, man. But if not, man, you're always welcome back, man, for sure.
Thank you.
I know you're a North Carolina guy, so I know it's not far to go. So I know it's not a big task.
No, I really.
So,
we owe you a tailgate, man. Anytime you can get to a game, man, let us know. We'll
treat you right, man.
It sounds good. So we'll go ahead and start planning for next season for sure. Then how about that?
Let's do it.
All right.
There's a lot of big games next season, man.
Hey,
so a lot of opportunity there for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So with that being said, if you want to follow Tobais on either Twitter or Instagram, we'll have his Instagram and Twitter handles in the description below. So make sure to go and follow him and check him out. If you want to continue to stay in touch with him, for sure, make sure to do that. And then for us, obviously, if you haven't already, once again, just a reminder, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're notified on all your devices whenever we go live with any new NC State content, whenever we do our Tuffy Talk live shows, our watch parties, you name it. And also, if you enjoyed this conversation, if you wouldn't mind, and that would help us out a lot, please hit that like button. We would really appreciate it. And also, too, if you're listening to this even as well, one thing which I'll ask, which is kind of a branding thing, is if you wouldn't mind leaving us a 5-star review as well, we really appreciate that as well. But thank you all so much for tuning in with us. We appreciate y'all's support. And as always, go Pack, baby.